Hey, I'm the developer of this game. Please play it, link in the description. And since the game got its final update not a little while ago, I thought it would be a great idea to make this an event on my Discord where I'd ask people to send me questions. And I did not expect this many questions. I'm talking 20 questions in one message. It's insane. I'm sorry this video took a little while to be made. It's just that now I'm getting used to editing YouTube videos again, especially on a new program. So it's been a really interesting journey. But yeah, without further ado and without further yapping, let's get this insanity of a Q&A over with. When is release of the new game? I'm working on two games right now. One is a smaller one and one is a bigger one. And the thing is, I don't really want to give dates again because, well, we know what happened last time I gave dates. The smaller project is already mid-development and I kinda expected to see it around next month, but again, I wouldn't trust myself with dates. And then the bigger project, I don't think it's ready to show yet, just because of how early in development it is. There's literally almost nothing to show, but trust me, I'm gonna reveal eventually and you'll see it's like 5 times bigger than Get a Drink at 3 AM, and I'm genuinely excited to finally reveal that project, so it's gonna be cool, I promise. Will there be an option to start Goober all over and fight it again? No. Will there be an ending where we can save conscience? No. But originally there was actually planned a route where you could save conscience, but due to the amount of content I had to add in the small time frame I had and the fact that I already delayed the game so many times, it made it really hard for me to focus on this stuff rather than getting the base game at least done. So yes, I couldn't add an ending where you could save conscience, but I feel like the way it ended right now is probably the way I'm happiest with. Is there more planned for the people who went with the new monster ending? Originally you were planned to kind of go inside Conscience memories. If you play the game, you'll know what I mean. Conscience in the game kind of explains how he was part of the Friends and how he was part of the original world. And the original plan for the game, there was actually a little section of a little map where you would be able to go through his memories. But again, sadly, due to time constraints, I really didn't have time to build or write any of that. But either way, I feel the way the ending is made right now is probably the happiest I am. Will there be a sequel to Gata 3? I don't have any plans right now for making a sequel or a spin-off of the Gata 3 universe, just because of how final the story feels right now. But I'm not entirely closing the doors on it. Just don't get your hopes up because it is not happening anytime soon. Do you have any future plans for the characters? Again, due to the amount of heavy meta content Gata 3 has, I doubt I'll be doing anything more with the characters. So for now, no, there's no plans in the future for that. Do you have plans on improving your games by expanding your work team? I've never said this before, but I'm actually a really insecure developer. I kind of have this irrational fear of other people working on my projects. It's not exactly that I don't trust other people with my projects, it's simply that I don't really feel comfortable showing my whole creative process to other people, and that is just a headache for me that for now I don't want to go through, although I'm not exactly closing off the doors for making a collab with anyone anytime soon. New lore on Ben, Carrie, Ethan, Conscience, Player, Baconman, etc. For now, I'm not closing entirely the doors for the possibility of new lore of these characters, but don't get your hopes up because it's probably not happening anytime soon. Will future games be similar to Gata 3, or will you try to be more diverse? Going forward, I'm gonna try to make more different games than what I've usually made, just because I want to kind of get out of this Gacha game genre thing. It's not that I dislike the genre, in fact I made Gata 3 because I was such a big fan of the whole genre, but I think that I really want to start making new stuff and start writing new things for new context and new games because I want to see what would it be like to make another type of game. I don't close the doors entirely to the genre, but I don't really feel like coming back anytime soon. You made a game about Ethan. Could there be any similar games for other characters in the future? Okay. This is a wild one. So for those who don't know, there used to be a Gata 3 ARG. That's right, a Gata 3 ARG. So not a while ago, there used to be this channel on my Discord server and there would be this account I would sometimes post clues to what essentially is a Gata 3 ARG. And what essentially I wanted to do with that is give people some food for thought for what the story would be before I actually release the game, just because it was taking so goddamn long. So what this question is actually referring to is the Ethan game that was made by discovering a code that would send you to that game. What that game basically is retelling of events as what is already in the lore. So I don't think there would be any similar games for other characters, just because that was such a situational game for the ARG and it was only a thing that I probably do once. English or Spanish.
Baby, you got something in your nose. Sniffing that K, did you feel the hole?
Do the characters have any canon ages or other details about themselves that we didn't have the chance to know about in game? I never really wrote the characters with ages in mind, but they're definitely kind of in that high school teenager kind of vibe. That's definitely what I was going for, and I think giving them an age will just make it really weird. I know Conscience has a name. You told me yourself that he has one, but we just don't get to find out. Haha. Oh my, what a funny secret. I don't want to divulge too much unreleased stuff about the story, because if I ever want to think about making a sequel, I don't want to ruin it for half the people who actually saw this video. First of all, I love your work. Aw, thank you. What is Goober's lore? Goober has no lore, he's just an egg with legs. That's all you need to know. That's all there is to it. There's genuinely nothing else. You shouldn't worry about that. And there's no like something written for it that may or may not eventually one day come out. I'm not saying anything. Is Dreams Guy a person or the result of the player's imagination? I think I've seen many people confused about a lot is, well, what the hell is going on with Dreams Guy and Conscience? Or is all of the game happening in your head? Well, I do acknowledge that this is a bit of my fault, considering the idea that this was all in your head was brought up there and never explicitly brought up ever again, with the same thing happening to Dreams Guy and Conscience. Basically, Dreams Guy and Conscience are both the same person. The reveal happens right before the boss fight actually. And regarding to, quote, the game happening in the player's imagination, this isn't true. Conscience, during the Broom Closet ending, tries to fool you into believing it's a real ending to entertain you, since, in the lore of the game, the player leaving means the world of Gaia 3 remains in some sort of limbo. Yeah, it's that complicated. Will future projects have ARG aspects like the Goober ending? I'm not entirely ruling that out, but it's not something I can really decide yet just because of how early in development both my projects are. Even if my smaller project were to have an ARG part to it, which I really doubt it will. But if it does, I don't really know, because both my projects, the big one and the small one, are really just early in development and I cannot really say for now, but it was really fun adding ARG elements to Gaia 3, so it's definitely not a closed door. I'm definitely willing to do that again. Do you intend on using other game engines to produce future projects, or is Roblox your preferred option? I haven't really felt the need to leave Roblox just because I've never really felt limited by the engine itself. Even with its limitations, as you cannot make files or you cannot send it to Steam, it's honestly not that bad of a game engine as people make it seem. It gives you pretty much freedom to do whatever you want and it's closed doors. You do have to send some stuff to moderation, and it's annoying when the mods just do whatever they want and they you know, nuke your whole account for 3 days because they thought the icon was sexual content. That's not something that happened to me. But overall, I think that Roblox is a really good engine and I've never felt too limited by it. So for now, I don't want to switch. But I'm not closing the idea of trying someday to make a Godot or Unity project. Did you have anything planned for being able to enter Ethan's house? If so, what would be inside? So originally, you were actually intended to find a secret ending that would lead you to Ethan's house. That was something that was planned for the original game, but never really came to fruition just because of how time constrained I was when I was making it. If you actually were to glitch inside his house, you'd find a lot of furniture and some development assets, because I still haven't really added everything. But you were supposed to find some sort of note that would show you a little bit more of the lore. But essentially, the replacement for that was the little arcade hideout. That was kind of the same concept as Ethan's house, but on a smaller scale. Where is the fish ending? I want the fish ending. How did you learn to code on Roblox Studio? I think my only advice to people who are probably watching this video thinking I'd say the key to Roblox Studio development is just to open Studio and start messing around with stuff, whether it's an uncopy-locked game or whether they are simple ideas. Because I didn't really watch any tutorials or any scripting documentation or any quick start guides or really anything at all. I simply opened Studio and just kind of fucked around until I knew how to do stuff. Of course, this isn't really the full story because I did have my roadblocks and headaches over the way, but overall, I think it helped me a lot that it just wasn't studio fucking around with scripts and stuff. Which Gata 3 character is your personal favorite? Probably Bacon Man. I feel like he's really irreplaceable. What's your next project going to be like? I'm actually working on 2 projects right now, but the big game I'm working on, I'm actually really excited to show you all because it's one of the biggest things I've ever worked on, and all I can say is that it's story focused and it's bigger than Gata 3. I'm genuinely really excited to show it. What is the guitar with face made of? Or who is it made of? This is actually a really funny story. So Ben's Duel isn't really coded by me, but rather coded by my friend Highwen. But essentially, my first idea was to have this guitar, and I didn't really think much of it. But then one day Highwen came in and just replaced that guitar with this one. And we found it kinda funny, so we just kept it in the game. Are there any Easter eggs, references, or secrets no one has found or noticed yet? I feel like all of them have basically been found. There was one that wasn't really found by anyone, but I've already kind of posted it on this channel before, so there's not really anything that hasn't been discovered in the game yet. But other than some minor dialogue change lines that happen if you do certain stuff, there's not really anything that anyone hasn't found yet. What character was your least favorite to make and write? So actually my least favorite character to write, I think it was Ben. Not because I hate him as a character, because it was boring to write. Because Ben is written as a best friend character, there's not really much room for any type of darker tones below that, like any of the other characters have. So I found it really difficult to extract any type of deeper meaning to his character, but I'm glad I eventually found a way to tie that in together without making it feel too forced, and I feel it ended up being a cool character. It was just a really big pain to write for and build a map for. Looking back on development, is there anything you wish you changed? One thing I really regret that I haven't done on development is just foreshadow the story more during normal gameplay, especially because the game really presents itself as just nothing more than ending grind and there's nothing else at the end. Even though I have spread a little bit of bits and pieces over there that you can probably piece into a story, there's no indication that there's a deeper tone to the story or the world, which makes a lot of people think this is just another one of those Gaza 4 clones, which really disappoints me, and I wish I could have done that a little bit better. But other than that, I'm really happy with how the game turned out, and I don't really regret that much stuff. Is there anything you would have done earlier if you could? Anything you would have told your past self not to? I would have definitely started with the story way from the beginning, and what I would have told my past self not to do is definitely not write some of the spaghetti code that infests Gata 3. There are a lot of scripting work crimes in there that if you were to see them, you would actually shoot yourself. I fixed everything that I could recently, but obviously there is stuff that is so ingrained in the game that there's no way of changing. So if there was something I would have told my younger self to do is to please learn about doing service. What was the biggest help to you while working on the game? Well, this game really wouldn't have been the same without my contributors, especially Rycrolly for the OST, or my helper writer for helping me direct the story, or my animator for animating most of the boss fight, which was really cool and it ended up flowing really well. And of course, Ben would have probably had a way worse ending if it wasn't for Highwen, as he basically coded the whole thing by himself, which is something I'm really thankful for, and without any of them, this game wouldn't ever have been half as good. So yeah, this is everything. There were quite a few more questions I didn't include in this video, mostly because they were asking similar things to another person or just for time's sake, so sorry if your question didn't make it to the video. If there's anything I'm taking away from this video though, is that I am not letting you guys post unlimited questions ever again. Jesus fucking Christ, some of you are the Yaposaurus Rex when it comes to asking questions. You'll probably be hearing less from me in the coming months though. School's starting really soon and I'll likely be busier than ever. I'm trying to get my smaller project finished until then, but I can't really make promises. But I guess that's it for this video. Thank you for making it till the end and dealing with my yap for the past 12 minutes. I had a lot of fun making it, and I'd really love to try my hand out at making some real YouTube content for this channel sometime soon. No promises it will be too soon though. And I guess that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.